Welcome to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It's your host with the most. Today we're going to talk about the most honorable Portia Simpson Miller, the first female Prime Minister of Jamaica. We're also going to talk about the biggest move she made in her career as Prime Minister of Jamaica and how it involved the Queen of England. Stick around. So let's talk about her for a minute. Then we'll talk about that. The Right Honorable, the most honorable Portia Simpson Miller. Her name is Portia Lucretia Simpson Miller, and she was born December 12th of 1945. She is into government and politics. Here's her history. History was made in Jamaica on February 26th of 2006. Mrs. Simpson Miller was elected as the first female president or Prime Minister of the People's, actually she was elected as the first female President of the People's National Party, PNP, and on March 30th of 2006, when she was sworn in as Jamaica's first female Prime Minister. She served in this post for the period of March 2006 to September of 2007, and again from January 2012 to March of 2016. Portia Simpson Miller was born on December 12, 1945, in the rural community of Woodhall, St. Catherine. She is married to Harold Miller. Mrs. Simpson Miller received her formal education at the Marley Hill Primary School, the former St. Martin's High School, and Jamaica's Commercial Institute. Mrs. Simpson Miller also received a degree in public administration from the Union Institute of Miami in Miami, Florida. Several years later, in 2002, the Institute conferred upon Mrs. Simpson Miller the first degree of Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters. The award of this honorary degree was quite significant, as Mrs. Simpson Miller is the first graduate to have received the Institute's honorary degree. In addition, Mrs. Simpson Miller holds the certificate in advanced management from the University of California at Berkeley and a certificate in public relations and advanced management from the Institute of Management and Production in Jamaica. 1974 was the beginning of Mrs. Simpson Miller's career in representational politics. She was asked to represent the People's National Party in the municipal elections of 1974, representing the Trenchtown area. Mrs. Simpson Miller's surprising success in the municipal election made way for her to be nominated as a candidate for the general elections. This was also another success story, with her winning in both the 1976 and the 1980 general elections. She has also been Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Andrew since 1989. Mrs. Simpson Miller has been one of the most successful and popular female politicians ever out of Jamaica. Mrs. Simpson Miller has served in several areas of the People's National Party. Here they are. Councillor in the Kingston and St. Andrew Division, 1974. Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Andrew since 1976, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Local Government and in the Office of the Prime Minister, 1977, People's National Party Vice President, 1978, President of the Women's Movement of the People's National Party, 1983, Minister of Labor, Social Security, and Sports, 1989, Minister of Tourism and Sports in the year 2000. Minister of Local Government, Community Development and Sports in the year 2002. Her accomplishments include reform to the Overseas Farm Workers Program through the Overseas Recruitment Center for Farm Workers. It was also Mrs. Portia Simpson's initiative which resulted in the significant growth in the National Insurance Fund, which benefits pensioners. She also had high on her agenda the employment of youths and women in Jamaica. Mrs. Simpson Miller is an avid supporter of Jamaican athletes, and she would be seen at many sporting events, often dressed in the national colors. It was also under the leadership of Portia Simpson Miller as sports minister that the indoor sports facility at the National Stadium was built and the Sports Development Foundation was established. Put some respect on her name. Regardless of whatever your politics is, me not say JLP, me say PMP. You know how Jamaican people are when it comes to their politics, but put some respect on her name. She was doing all this as a woman in a field that is dominated by men, particularly the old boys club mentality. Now, let's move along. Let's talk about the biggest move she made that ruffled a whole lot of feathers that many Jamaicans do not know about. She stood up and she said, Jamaica will become a republic. This is what she said. Jamaica will become a republic. People, Google, please tell me, what is a republic? What is a republic?
Here's the definition of republic. A state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representatives, and which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch.
Wow. Does that mean, let me read that for you again. A state. She wanted to turn Jamaica into a state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected officials. Let's stop there for a second. What that tells me is that currently supreme power is not held by the people of Jamaica or their elected officials. And which has an elected or nominated president rather than a monarch. Who is the monarch over Jamaica? So she got up and she said Jamaica will become a republic. This is what she vowed. After taking office in a landslide vote, Portia Simpson Miller pledged to drop the Queen of England as head of state and to restore prosperity to the island of Jamaica. She was put in The Guardian, a British newspaper, as Portia Simpson Miller, the woman behind Jamaica's move to cut links with the British monarchy. I don't think many Jamaicans are aware of this move. I don't think many Jamaicans are aware that they do not hold supreme power. That supreme power over Jamaica is still held to this day in 2019, December 11th and beyond, by the Queen of England. There you have it. Portia Simpson Miller was brave enough to step out and try to cut those ties. So Portia Simpson Miller had been sworn in for the second time as Jamaica's Prime Minister with a pledge to ease poverty, boost the economy, heal political divisions, and drop the Queen as head of state. Simpson Miller, who was Prime Minister for a year and a half until 2007, took the oath of office on her second go-round before roughly 10,000 guests on the ground of Governor General's official residence. The 66-year-old politician scored a dramatic victory in that week's national elections, leading her center-left People's National Party to a 2-to-1 margin in Parliament over the center-right Jamaica Labour Party. Her opposition faction won a dominating 42 seats in the 63-seat legislature, leaving the incumbent party with only 21. Simpson Miller, Jamaica's first female prime minister, takes over from Andrew Holness, who was at the time a 39-year-old Labour MP who led the government for just over 2 months. After being tested and tempered, I stand before you today a stronger, better person, prepared to be of service to my country and people, Simpson Miller said at the start of a spirited 45-minute speech. Listen, she said her government intended to abandon the British monarch as Jamaica's official head of state and instead opt a Republican form of government. Jamaica declared independence. This is what she said. Jamaica declared independence from Britain in 1962, but remains within the Commonwealth and still has the Queen as our head of state. Now, I love the Queen, she said. I love the Queen. She's a beautiful lady, Simpson Miller said, before declaring that to the audience in Jamaican patois, but I think, the time has come. Simpson Miller said that she could replace the Privy Council in London with the Trinidad-based Caribbean Court of Justice as Jamaica's highest court of appeal. She said that this would end the judicial surveillance of Jamaica from London. So there you have it. This would end the judicial surveillance of Jamaica from London. In other words, then, London, England, has judicial surveillance over Jamaica. They control our court system at the highest level. She vowed her government would ease the burden and the pressures of increasing poverty, joblessness, and deteriorating standards of living, while also pursuing a tight fiscal policy and forging strong partnership with the private sector and international partners such as the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. We've seen that part. My administration will work tirelessly that while we try to balance the books, we balance people's lives as well, she said. Jamaica has a punishing debt of roughly $18.6 billion, which is 12 billion pounds, or 130% of GDP. In the short and medium term, the Prime Minister said that her administration would use state resources to stimulate jobs through an emergency employment program that was the centerpiece of her party's campaign manifesto. Her People's National Party has said that it will try to negotiate roughly 25% of a troubled $400 million road program financed by China in order to transfer some of the money to the employment program. The Prime Minister urged Jamaicans to create a more civil and respectful society and earnestly strive to make the best of each individual self. We will seek to make this country one of brothers and sisters, not of rivals and victims, she said. After her speech, Simpson Miller elicited laughter from the audience by dragging a slightly embarrassed-looking Andrew Holness, now the leader of the opposition, to the podium and saying she was his second mother. Holness had been elected unopposed to succeed Bruce Golding as head of the ruling Jamaica Labour Party, becoming Prime Minister in the process. Golding, 63 years old, he stepped down. He did not retire his position by losing in a follow-up election. He stepped down because of the fallout from his handling of the extradition of Jamaican gang leader Christopher Dudus Coke. After initially fighting Coke's extradition to New York On drug trafficking charges, Golding administration bowed to U.S. pressure in May of 2010 and sent police and military officials into Tivoli to find him and arrest him. 76 people died in that ensuing gun battle between government forces and Dudus Coke supporters. So, let's end this here. There you have a little history, and we can talk about the others, which we will in other videos to come. But just remember the brave and bold move that Portia Simpson Miller did when she decided that Jamaica would become a republic and cut ties with the British monarch. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I want you to leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about Sister Portia Simpson Miller, and what do you think about her achievement as the first female Prime Minister of Jamaica. It's SouFLoTV. Like, comment, share, subscribe. See you on another informative video. I'm out. Peace.